Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome. We are live. Let us know in the chat if you can hear us. Sometimes I forget to press buttons and sound like a stupid prat when I do that. But yeah, let us know in the chat if you can hear us okay. The audio is coming through okay. Everything here looks fine. My end looks like it's a healthy stream according to the tubes. Analytics. Health. Good. Yep, there's a yep from Kent. I'm thinking that's the technical term for it's working. Beautiful, yep, audio fine, good, awesome. I have been mucking around with the audio, so yeah, I'll talk about that a bit later in the show. On this particular computer, not technically, so it should all work as last week. Shouldn't be any dramas with it, touch wood. There's always dramas though with streaming, it's just never 100%. Good to see all the chatties in. I'll just keep an eye on the chat window. I'm gonna see if I can get this thing working again. Let me just pick a random comment like that. And then, there you go. So the little bubble should come up.
So that explains everything, Sassy.
Yeah, so we should be able to highlight comments again. So that's all back. Yay. So that seems to be working okay. I don't know why that never worked properly before. But yeah, I want to try it out on one of the super chats when it comes through tonight to see if it actually works properly on a super chat. It's supposed to, but I just don't know if the bubble thing that I've chosen is the right graphic for it, blah, blah, blah.
If you get one, Ranz, if you get one, don't count your chickens before they've hatched.
That is true, if I get one. I'm not counting my chickens. Yes, so it is. I haven't got any.
I'll send you one if it.
I haven't got a Halloween themed outfit on. I do apologise. I'm not the sort of person that fancy dresses. Is it Halloween all over the world, or is it just here in my country tomorrow?
No, everywhere. It's
everywhere in the world.
The 1st of November is Roman Catholic Holy Day of Obligation. It's all.
Yeah, and also
Saints Day.
And in Ireland, this is where it started. It was the celebration of the harvest. So that should.
It's Hallows.
Yeah.
All these celebrations coincide. So
yeah.
All Hallows, all Saints. So All Hallows Eve gets.
Oh, we got Sasquatch. Here we go, Sasquatch. Bang. Let's try that.
Oh, no, Sassy, how did you do that? I haven't got a button to make a super chat.
Now that should. Yeah, it does. See, look, it works. Beautiful. Yay. But it doesn't show the colour. I want the colour. Oh, I have to play with it a bit more.
Ken, no, the studio isn't taking shape. I've just put a few bits. I'm putting things in and moving them around. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle, actually, at the moment. I haven't got anything properly set up. I'm just seeing and feeling just to see how. But anyway, more on that later, I suppose.
Beautiful.
Watch
that does work. But it does. It works, but it doesn't work as well as I wanted it to. I like how it's nice and pretty and colourful. But anyway, it does bring up the information, which is what we wanted. It didn't do that before. It just completely ignored it. It is a third-party software that I'm using to bring up chat pop-ups because it's got to go through my streaming software. So yeah, it's always, these sort of things are always tricky to run. Wow, lots of people in already. Good, beautiful. If you're actually new here, jump into chat and say hi. We're all sort of friendly synth geeks here. None of us will bite. By the way, what you're actually watching right now is the pre-show. See, Daren's just rocked up. I mean, you know, it's gentleman hours for some of us here.
His t-shirt. You know, honestly, Daren.
Yeah. You must all know that. Oh, wait, can you see the bottom bit?
I've seen you wear that before, haven't I? I'm pretty sure I've seen you wear that before.
Yeah. Yeah,
but no, I haven't.
Back, yeah.
Because I'd have been rude about
the
it.
90s.
No, I haven't. No, I don't. There's one that's past me, but I missed that one.
So Daren, when you actually
check them out.
When you actually do have a digital orgasm, does it bit crush you?
Very much so. Yeah, I will. Don't worry. Wait till the main show starts.
Fancy. It's a fancy shirt, Daren. It's fancy. According to Atto Z in chat, that is. Let's flag it. I'm having fun with the socials today. Where is he?
Yeah. That's that. Yeah.
Boom. Let's wait for that one to clear. And then fancy. There you go. Look at that. Perfect. I can't work out how to clear them though. It's a bit stupid. It's a bit stupid, really. It's really not the best software. But then again, what software is the best software? Okay, so what have we got in store for today? Well, I'll let you guys know that when we hit the hour in about 10 minutes. But for now, we can have a chinwag about life and all sorts of cool things. Do you know, I felt really surreal during the week, hey? So where I live, we've got a fairly dystopian type government here where they lock us down like we're prisoners and stuff. They still believe in the antiquated idea that COVID can be eradicated by quarantine and lockdowns. But
Good luck on that one.
Funnily enough, we actually have 0 cases of COVID, 0. None in the hospital. No, that is absolutely, it's absurd. I mean, there's only a couple of million people here, but it's absurd. It is absolutely absurd. The fact that but all it is just postponing the inevitable.
Right again over here.
Oh, you guys have been hit nasty. We are prisoners. Yeah, I guarantee you. We can't fly anywhere. I can only go to a couple of different states in my country, and even if I do, I take the risk of getting caught there, and I have to stay there in quarantine, or if I literally I can't fly anywhere in the world. I missed out on Super Booth. I was going to go to Super Booth this year. Kind of pees you. Obviously, you know, there's a limit to sort of protecting us, but at the same time, it's just weird, like seeing that there's 0 cases. There's no one in hospital, no one's quarantining, there's no boats out in the ocean waiting with a whole bunch of people with COVID on it. There's nothing, 0. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. It's Halloweenish.
Well, we have really high cases. The number of COVID cases that have been reported are exactly the same as they were when it was at its most lethal peak in January. And the difference now is that there are far fewer people going into hospital and far fewer people getting seriously ill and dying. There are still people dying from it. I mean, there's 30 a day or something like that, which is, you might go, oh, only 30. It's still 30 too many, really. But it's not as bad as it was, and we have to be blooming grateful for that. But I think that's the impact of the vaccination program that's been carried out, really.
It is good to know though that the vaccinations are working.
I'm wearing a face covering every time I go out now. Every time I go to a shop,
anywhere,
I'm putting a face covering up.
I'm doing the same.
Not just for me, but for the people.
Yeah. I think it's just courtesy, but it's nice to know that it is actually the vaccines are actually, to a degree, they're working. I believe people are still going into hospital sometimes and they've been vaccinated, but they don't get to that point where they have to be put on respirators, and it doesn't go to that sort of nasty stage, as far as I'm aware. I mean, not everything gets reported. ASIO Head's probably correct. Maybe we're just smart people. I don't know. It's not me that's smart. I mean, you guys should already know that by now. I just do as I'm told. Sasquatch says, funny how he's got a rally that lives in Perth, but as an exec at a major American company, he's been able to fly out. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. If you've got some sort of magic pass, you're allowed to do whatever you want, but everyone else can't. Yeah, it's doing. Look, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I'll get to travel eventually, but there's people that are worse off. There's people that have got relatives that live in another part of my country that they're dying and they can't go and see them. They can't go and visit them. That's the sort of stuff that annoys me. They should be able to go and see their rallies. We call them rallies. Do you guys call them rallies? Go and see your rallies?
Well, relatives.
Yeah. We do this. We put E's on the end of everything. Going to have some beeries after work.
Is that why you're
go and see the rallies?
a constant rave then over there.
It must be. Yeah, lots of E's. Yes. We rattle as we walk. How do we say wellies? It depends on where you're from in Australia. I think you'd probably say gumboots if you're from some states. You would say wellies if you're from others. And I don't even know what other people would call them. But yeah, gumboots or wellies would probably be acceptable. I think gumboots are the old-fashioned term that they used over here. Don't ask me where that came from. That is a bizarre name, gumboots. Maybe people thought they're going to be treading on lots of gum. I don't know. Or
talking of gum.
It's something to do with gum trees or something. Is that a troll? Was that a troll sound? Oh, he's muted himself.
It's going to be a sample. Mute yourself so you can hear it.
Yes. Yeah. Haribos.
Oh. Yeah. Something to chomp on, as I say.
Yeah, you should see how many messages I get about Daren's rattling packet, crisps eating, and they all blame me. They think it's me. It's not me. Look, I have nothing in my hands. It's nothing me.
I've not been doing it that often anyway. It's the past couple of months I've hardly had anything. So you're going to get it big time this time. I'm going to...
There's actually a psychological condition that's where people can actually hear someone chew and crunch more acutely than the average person, and apparently it's a condition. And you know, in life you've probably come across the odd person here and there that gets really angry or abrupt about why you chew or something like that. You might even probably the most common place you'd find it is maybe in a cinema, right, in a theatre. You know, someone turning around and wanting to murder you because you've rattled your crisp packet or something at the at the wrong moment in the movie or something. But yeah, there's actually a psychological condition. Someone in chat will probably know what it's even called. I only found out the other day.
You could just say your channel's also. Oh, what is it? ARMS? Is it AMSR? I forget what it's called.
I don't even know what that is.
You know what I'm on about?
Are you swearing at me?
Yeah, you know, the AMSR or AM... What's it called? Come on, everybody. Where they open packets and...
Crickets.
It's dead big. Do that on your show and you'll have 1 million followers.
Oh, you mean that? You mean like the YouTube... yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, so well, your show's partly that, you see.
Kent said, I know dogs can. Dogs have got super hearing. Super smell and super hearing. My dog knows whenever we're cooking chicken. She'll just appear out of... I think she just comes out of woodwork, like emerges out of the woodwork, and all of a sudden I'm looking down at the floor and there's a dog. And I'm looking at the table and there's a chopping board and I'm chopping chicken. I'm going, that's why she's here. Unbelievable. Ben Breslin is one of those people that gets angry from loud eaters. There you go. See, you should check it out, Ben. You might actually have one of these. It's not like you're mental and you have to go and check yourself into the local loony bin. It's just a small thing that scientists have discovered, that people have an acute irritation to crunchy noises.
You mean they lose the plot a bit like the Falling Down movie?
You're telling the story. Go.
Oh, no, what's the Falling Down movie?
Lose the plot. You know, Falling Down. Come on, what's his name? Michael Douglas.
Oh, okay. We got Andy. We got to get Andy in. And hey. Boom, there's Andy. Woohoo.
Hey, sorry, I was trying to ping you earlier, but I don't know if you heard me or saw my chat.
I didn't. I was too busy being a dickhead. But yeah.
Talk about things that end in E, right?
He's had too many of them.
And by the way, Falling Down's a great movie. I'm glad you brought that up. So
someone else has seen it.
I don't get the reference. I don't know if I've seen it or not. Maybe I haven't seen it. I don't know. I can't remember.
Sorry, ignorant here.
Yeah, and see, Andy's in the same camp.
Michael Douglas is on fire. Basically, he's a basically out of work defense contractor. Just goes nuts one day, and just everything goes crazy with weapons and things blowing up and doing everything you ever want to do to bad shopkeepers and guys in the street you want to punch and everything else. It's great stuff.
It's like mental health, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, he has issues. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, he basically has a breakdown sat in a traffic jam, even though he's not been going to work for the past.
Oh yes, I have seen that movie. It's been a while. It's probably been out for. It's been out for a while, hasn't it? I think it's probably 5 or 10 years old. Yeah. There you go.
The famous LA traffic that we finally have here now. So.
All right, cool. All right, we're going to start the show because it's hit the hour, and we probably should press this button. Ready, set, go. Hello, welcome. It is actually just hit the hour, so you've reached another episode of Synth Geekery. We're up to episode number 137 if you're keeping count. Good to have you here, and also nice to see you on the replay if you're watching, if you can't make it to the live show. Try and get here next time. We do stream at 2 o'clock UK time every Saturday, unless something really bad happens. Anyway, today we're going to be doing a little bit of a Halloween theme. I don't really have anything to dress up in, but you'll just have to imagine me with a witch's hat on or something. But we're going to be talking more about the synth side of it. We'll sort of look at a couple of funny things. We'll try and keep the show theming around the Halloween thing. Not everything can be, but we'll try and do that with some of the segments we're doing. The other cool thing is we've got a new segment to show you guys today. So if you haven't been chatting to us in Discord during the week, which is something that you probably should do if you haven't yet, you probably should get yourself this link and get yourself into Discord, because we do continue to chat all through the week and it's all cool stuff happening in there. You would have known that we've got a new segment on. And also we've got some news today. A couple of interesting firmware updates. We're gonna check out those. And also a VST that's come out, which I think is actually a cool one, something that we've kind of been waiting for. But anyway, what we should do is probably say hello, starting with the people that arrived the latest. We'll start with Andy. Hi, Andy.
Everybody.
How's your week been?
It's a week from hell. I don't want to go into details, but this is worth getting up early for, letting off some steam and having some fun, because it was a terrible week. So.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But you've got any synthy stuff happen during the week?
Yeah, I actually have a thing when we're talking about Halloween stuff later. Other than the other thing I told you about, that I kind of hinted at.
Yep.
I got this new ATV A-frame from Kakahashi-san. Just before he died, he left Roland, and he basically, with his son, founded ATV to make drum stuff.
Yes.
And it's basically a frame drum with contact mics, effects. It's not physical modeling; it's actually DSP. Mm-hmm. But it's insanely crazy, and you can get some creepy sound effects out of it if you use it right for Halloween. So. Okay,
we'll definitely be checking that out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having you on, Andy, and we'll also go to Daren. Say hello to Daren. How's your week been?
It's all your fault, basically.
It is? Oh, good. I'm living up to my name.
Well, not your fault. Not your fault specifically, but everybody's fault. Because it's been a bit of a, how can I put it? A hard music working week, let's put it that way. Because I'm trying to finish the album off to go out in December, as people should know. But whilst doing that, because of you lot, I've been... well, let's put it this way. I've been constantly in the studio battling because he wants to release an album. I've told him he'll have to wait till mine are done, but he's insisted. He's been messing about with the desk and everything. He's come up with this. see this? Can we get this?
What's a Volca? You've been busy, haven't you, mate?
So yes, that'll be out next year anyway. But he's been constantly giving me hassle doing that. So there'll be a sneak preview actually of a track tomorrow, by the way. And you'll see him working. He'll be working on it tomorrow. You'll see him in the video tomorrow. You'll see him working at the mixing desk and stuff. And it's a sneak preview of sign with Square, as he likes to say. So yes, bit of a bugger really. But there you go. That's my week really. Trying to do my album and having that daft person in the studio.
That's awesome, mate. Awesome. Well done. All right, we'll go across to Andy. Nice to see you, Andy. How's your week been?
Well, I've got a secret to disclose eventually to Daren in a minute. Well, my week's been a week spent in my car driving up and down, left and right, north, south, east, west, all because of that thing over there, which we'll come to in a minute. Because obviously we realised last weekend that Kent had done his magic on the prune. So on Monday I got back in my car and drove all the way down to Surrey to collect it from Kent, and we got there and he switched it on. He was messing about, and it wasn't behaving itself. So we did some recalibrating and this, that, and the other. Got it back. Yeah, fine. So I then drove back up here. Oh my God, what a nightmare! I am never, ever, ever going to complain about traffic in Sheffield again, except when there's football matches on. But because the M25, it took me 3 hours to go 20 miles from junction 10 to junction 21 of the M25. It was a nightmare. It was just awful. Anyway, I eventually got home. I was absolutely jiggered. I spent Tuesday in bed just recovering from it all. And then through Facebook, I'd received a kind offer for some wooden end panels from a chap called Keith Winstanley. And he's based in, I think he lives in Stockport, but he has a little sort of business in Knutsford in Cheshire. So I've driven over to Knutsford in Cheshire to collect these wooden end panels and fit them. And then the screws bloody wouldn't fit. So I had to go to B&Q and get some screws to fit them. Oh, it's just been a problem. Anyway. But actually, on the way back, I called in at I called in at Daren's, but he wasn't in, right? So Dave let me in. So me and Dave spent a happy 45 minutes just messing about with the DFAM and the Dreadbox. So if your settings on your DFAM and your Dreadbox Erebus are all wrong now, Daren, that's mine and Dave's fault. But we had a blast for 45 minutes, but then I had to go. So. You might actually find there's a secret track on that album somewhere that me and Dave did.
Ooh.
It'll be it'll be a bonus track.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a whole bunch of fun. And we should also probably say hello to the chatties. You guys are silly. Seriously. Hello to all the chatties. Native VS gets the yellow Guernsey this week. He can ride it around on his bicycle with pride, thinking that he's in Tour de France. Big hello to everyone. Where should we start? We should probably start with me clicking on the right window for a start. There we go. Okay, wow. Kent's there. Big hello to Kent. Ken Lewis, Native VS I mentioned before. Keith in Watford. Sasquatch, it's awesome of you to pop the £2 in to check for us to test out the super chat, which we can bubble up now on the show, which is really cool. So if you do want to make a nice big sort of comment, the super chat's the way to go. Wagoo's there. Big hello to Wagoo, Atto Z, and we've got Martin Taylor with the weird nick, something to do with Halloween. I didn't really quite understand what he was going on about, but it's Hu Patah. If you want to know who Martin Taylor is this week. Big hello to Lisa, who's Inky. Ben, we mentioned before. Hello, Ben. Azio had Sensian, and I believe Sensian is going to be on Dom's show, on Mr. Wiggly show tomorrow. So there's a bit of interesting stuff happening there. What else? Who else? Daniela, good to see Daniela. Always nice to see Daniela, of course. And I'm just going to scroll, and it's probably going to... Will Joseph, it's going to scroll off the screen, as it always does. Yeah, so I think I saw Adamski before. I shouldn't forget him. He's an awesome guy. Wonder how his synth's gone.
Yeah, he's there.
And...
Something... Mr.
Did see
X101.
Mr. Wiggly's there, X101, yeah. Brian Taylor. Who else? Dumb Jezza, Dr. Synth, Manny. Beautiful. Fantastic. Try and get most of you guys and girls each week.
And F Rose has just popped in.
Teo,
Hello, F Rose.
Teo Sophie Music. Nice to see Teo Sophie Music. There you go. That's a good one. And Eddie's in, is he? Okay, cool. Beautiful. All right, so if I've missed you, I think I saw David, your mate David's in there, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, cool. I Sing the Body Electric. There you go. That's just come in at the last minute. Everyone wants to chuck their names in because they know. I Sing the Body Electric's finally watching the show in real time. Well done. What an effort that is. Beautiful. Good stuff. Well, just so you know, I stay up late every Saturday night to give it to you so it's at a reasonable time. So anyway, next week I'll be staying up even later. Let me cough. Don't worry, it's not COVID. Right, beautiful. We are going to get stuck into the show as we do each week. We'll start with the regular segments. What comes first? Daren, introduce it.
What, between the chicken and the egg?
What's the first segment that we do every week? What comes first?
The egg definitely came
Funny
first.
side.
Funny side. Well done.
No, don't do that.
I'm going to cough again. At the end of the internet, stranger things do happen. And this week is funnily kind of themed Halloween. Yes. Thank you to Andrew Me, by the way, who sent in most of these memes. Yes. We'll get through these quickly because they're Halloween themed. They're not as funny as they usually are. But anyway, what about this one? Hey, little girl, want a balloon? Next one. Here we go.
Just because it's got a tambour wolf in it, it's enough to make anybody laugh, isn't it?
Yes.
Really?
That chocolate has 4 flavours. Work that one out. And got to say he's been a bit of a thriller this week. Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, the Halloween-themed memes weren't as good as our usual memes. So it actually restricts me because I have to choose Halloween-themed memes and I can't choose the more funnier memes. I did have some lined up this week, but we decided to go with the Halloween theme this week. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Tell us what your favourite was in chat, and also you guys. You guys got a favourite?
No.
Timberwolf.
Timberwolf.
If I had to pick.
That's a Snickers.
Justin Timberwolf.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right, why don't we get stuck into news? I did mention that we've got a little bit to do, so let's do this. Yes, we've reached news, and of course, as we do every week, we like to show some cool things happening in the news, in the realm of news anyway. So we'll start with, and I always seem to get the button wrong, but I'm just going to do it manually here. We'll start with this bit of news. That is, Churia have got a new firmware out. Firmware 4.0 for the Microfreet. If you can't read. Yes, you've reached the Arturia version 4 Microfreak firmware. Isn't that cool? Adds a new wavetable support via a wave user engine. I like this. It allows you to upload your own custom wavetables, as it said in the video, and it can be done by the MIDI control center software, which most of you should already have, but you do have to upgrade or update to the latest version, which will also deliver your firmware update as well. There's also support for a single bank of 16 wavetables within that, and also they've given us another 64 new presets, and best of all, gentlemen and ladies, it's free. What do you guys think of that? Who wants to go first? Who's got a Microfreak here? Hey, we'll go with Andy. Andy's got one, so he can make a nice comment about it. You updated yours yet?
I just did last night, as well as my Force. So, unfortunately, I'm kind of lazy when I first get an update. I like to have some new presets to play with, just to fiddle a bit. And they didn't give any new presets, but that's okay, because it's easy to dive in and just start tweaking with the wavetables. And Nick did a great demo showing some of the features and how to import wavetables.
He did, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I was able to update it without updating my software on the computer, but you need the new version to see the wavetables and to update them. Yeah,
the MIDI control center. And you also, I believe you need that to get the new presets as well.
That's probably why I didn't get it then, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Silly me. But it sounds amazing. I went through some of the new settings and it was really nice.
I do like the idea of being able to upload your own wavetable, because, I mean, you can really just come up with your own sounds from that. What about you guys? Does that make you guys a bit more interested in the Microfreak? It's a pretty cool little synth. Daren, what about you? It's a nice small form factor. Now that you can update your own.
It is, and I like the way you can update the way you can put your own wavetable into it, a bit like Serum and the like, which is really nice. Like I say, you can create your own really cool sounds and everything. The only thing is, and can they make on? It's the same with the monologue, things like that. Can they make a bigger screen? They're really nice, but they're small. I'm getting old. I can't see the screens anymore. And, when I'm in a dark place, I need a bigger screen. That's my only gripe about things at the moment. I need things, big buttons, big lettering. I'm blind as a bat now. I need these things. So at least if I'm working on a door, at least I can expand it to like 200% magnify, where I can't.
That is true.
And it becomes a bit of an annoying. But other than that, yeah, I do like it. But I'll need to update computer and OS for me to do any sort of firmware upgrade on anything. So yes, I like it, and I like the idea that you can put your own wavetables in. So that's a thumbs up, and I would get one when I get some bigger glasses.
He's right about that. We're not getting any younger. The screen is small, so
yeah. I think, all of us here are sort of north of the 30 or 40-year-old sort of bracket, so it's probably, we're not the younger generation. What about you, Andy? Not trying to sort of drop you in the old man position, but do you like the Microfreak, or is it something?
Why not? It's one of those things that I've been interested since it came out. Really think it sounds great form factor. I just think, Daren, you could get Dave just to read it for you, surely. But
not what he comes out with.
I'm quite interested in it. I like it, but I haven't got one. And again, for me, because cash is an issue. What I spend my little pennies on. It's not towards the top of the list, but it might be eventually, because I do think it sounds fab. Always has done.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's basically, in many ways, it's a sort of Platts in a different case, isn't it? In some ways of viewing it, but with other sort of that's been a bit flippant. I'm sorry. Can I just say at this point, whilst you've got me, because I meant to say it in the introductions, I owe an apology really to the Pro Synth Network guys. I got on one a bit last night, because they spent ages and ages talking about native instruments, and I just got fed up with it, and I was a bit blunt. So my apologies to Robbie and the Pro Synth Network guys if my comments that I made in the chat were a bit unnecessary. So there we are. I've got that off my chest now. I feel unburdened of my guilt, because I went back and looked at it this morning and thought, Oh, bloody hell, Andy. I'd had 3 beers and was feeling really grumpy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Keith's just gone and done it now. That's why they went, oh, it's behaving, Keith. I went back and I looked at, oh, Andy, you shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. These guys are doing this for free and you're doing that. Stop it. So my apologies to the Process Network guys for being a bit of a git.
It was big of you to apologise. Right, we should move on to the next firmware update, which is this one.
Hi, Luke from Korg here today, and I'm talking to you about version 2 of the Op6. So what we've done is we've added a few new features. The first thing is we've added on operator 1. I'm using a wave shaper, for instance, for that sound. Let's take a look at
bigger screen.
We've got 10 to choose from in total. Another one of the effects is called punch.
It's slightly bigger.
So that sounds a bit like this. It's really nice on this snowball sound.
Well, he does have glasses on, so.
That's true.
It's a 9-minute video. We are not going to go through this video, but what I will do is we will talk about it briefly. What are we, number 2? Look, the OP6, it's an interesting beast, this synth. It's a lot sort of more different sort of FM synth to probably what I'm used to. And the fact that they've now added this effect operator, which is basically an oscillator signal and input signal are fed into 10 modes. You've got a peaking EQ. The video goes through all these different modes, so you can check it out. Peaking EQ, shelving EQ, phaser, short delay, comb filter, distortion drive. It's got a decimator and a wave shaper and a punch. And it's also got, they've added some 2 new noise sources, pink and blue. And this is actually probably a big thing. Because I know some people whinged about this on the forums. You can now select Aftertouch as a control source for LFOs and EGs, and the Virtual Patch Plus, it can now be recorded and played back via the motion sequences. So they're actually a couple of things that people have been asking for a while. I don't have an OP6, so I actually don't know how much pain that caused people, but that's actually from what I've been reading in forums, it's a long-awaited addition. There's 100 new presets as well. This is also a free update. Yeah, anyone here got an OP6? I don't think any of us do we? No. Why don't we go to the chatties? We'll go to the chatties. We'll see if any of the chatties has got an OP6. Usually they say, oh, I've got one. Anyone in the chat got an OP6? I'm pretty sure one of you guys has got one. I just can't remember who it was. I remember someone saying that I got one. Let us know in chat if you've got it and if you've upgraded it. But that's another free update. So we'll keep the firmware updates coming through, because I think sometimes you don't find out about these when... I find it annoying that you don't get an email from companies like Korg or Arturia, that you don't get you go register your product. Say you've got a Microfreak, you've registered it, they know you've got it because it's in the MIDI control center. They don't actually send you an email to say, hey, we've given you a new firmware. I just kind of find that sort of stuff annoying. But anyway, that is okay. We are allowed to be annoyed at small things.
But we're all supposed to be connected as part of the metaverse, right? Isn't that what Facebook is doing? So.
Yeah, it's the Infinity logo. Speaking of new software, why don't we talk about this one? Hey.
Released in 1991, the JD800 brought the synthesizer world back to its roots with a massive control-laden panel and an aggressively electronic sound palette. And it soon became a favorite of music producers throughout the 90s and beyond. Combining the original JD800 waveforms with advanced modeling techniques, the JD800 software synthesizer brings the gleaming tone and monster sound shaping potential of this vintage digital icon to your DAW. Let's hear what it can do. The JD800's huge, complex sound comes from its unique...
All right, we aren't going to go and listen to everything in that video because it does go for 13 or almost 14 minutes. But let me say, a lot of people have been asking Roland to bring this out because it is a digital synth. The JD800 was kind of kind of the smart progression from, I've got a bug flying around in front of me here, the smart progression from the D50. So if you're thinking about from history of the D50 was their flagship digital synth that came out that competed with the DX7. Then they brought this baby out. And the good thing about this synth is all the little controls that were on it. So you've got sliders for a whole bunch of things. It made sound design actually a really pleasant sort of thing. And that's kind of a weird thing because during that sort of period, Roland were not known for this sort of stuff. They were known for like very, very minimalistic design synths where like you're looking at the Juno Alphas and things like that, XPs, and that just really didn't have a lot of control. So, gentlemen, where's the graphic on that? That is the expansion version of it. I do actually have it, so we're going to go check it out. Who here is a Roland? Hand up if you're a Roland Cloud subscriber. I mean, I am. None of you guys? Okay, cool. Well, why don't we have a little look? I've got, this is actually a little
I have a JD800 though.
Oh, beautiful. Do you have it plugged in?
It's off camera, covered up right now because
that's okay.
The setup was different. But I have a fun, if you're interested, I have a fun little story about how I got it because, you know, there was a time just like when analog was cheap, digital was kind of cheap for a while. So I found one on, I think it was on Craigslist or eBay, I forgot. And it was one of those local pickup only things that stays on forever. Mm-hmm. And down in LA, and I said, well, I'm not in LA, but SIGGRAPH Expo was coming up, and so I'm going to drive down there and go pick it up if this guy still has it. I went to this guy's house, picked it up. It was just over $400. It looked like it came right out of the store, and it was already like 15 years old at that point or something. And it had no red glue problem. It's been beautiful ever since. I have D50 as well, so it's a nice continuation of that, and it has some similar sounds on it that have been programmed by Roland. But I love it. It's a great board, and I have the JD990 which is the sibling. So.
Yeah, beautiful. While I got you there, I mean, you know it. Your sort of feeling of the actual overall tone of the JD800. Do you find it very digital sounding? Like if you were thinking of what is the most digital sounding synth out there, would that be one of them that would come to mind? Or would you?
It's very digital, but I like all the synth stuff. I like FM. I like the wavetable. I like the Hartman Neuron. I like all the crazy stuff. So I don't get bothered by digital. In fact, this Waldorf up here is all digital filters, digital everything, and it's incredibly amazing. So, so if it's done right, it can be really cool, even for people who think it's too glassy or too metallic or thin sounding. But the JD, it's much cleaner than the D50, but I don't know. It's like people wanted clean stuff for a while. Now they want to grunge stuff up with plugins, and go retro. So it's one of those funny things.
That's good. Let's have a look at it. So this is the you've got a bit of a double bonus here because what you're actually looking at is this is a Mac M1, the silicon version of the Mac M1, and so it's running the ARM platform, and Ableton is actually Ableton 11 beta here. So this is actually Ableton 11 running natively on a Mac, not through the Rosetta Intel clone. And beautifully, you've got the JD800.
And I can see the screen on it right.
Yeah, so you might like this, Daren. You can actually zoom. There is a zoom option here for you to change.
See? This is what keyboards need. An actual so it starts off like a microfreak. You press a button and boom, it's like an 88 keyboard.
Yeah. So obviously Fantasia is a famous patch. What's another famous patch? Massive Pad, I think, was pretty famous, wasn't it? That one.
On this one, it seems like patch 1 on some of the banks are the most famous ones. Just like on the Korg 01W, patch 1 is.
Yeah, it does seem like that, doesn't it? So patch 1, spun glass, yeah. But when people say this does sound glassy, I mean, the glass sounds on this are actually beautiful. So, you know, but anyway, so this whole control part of it is actually the thing that makes this synth so good. I mean, obviously the hardware synth so good, but also it's nice. One of the cool things about this being in a DAW is you can actually click on all of these sliders and map them to a MIDI controller if you want to. So you can kind of go down that route as if you've got it. It's got quite a lot in here. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Roland Cloud stuff on Intel tends to be a little bit processor hungry. So keep an eye on this CPU up the top right-hand corner where my mouse is squiggling, right? You keep an eye on that. So we'll push it. Now, I do have a D50, which we're going to use later in the Halloween section of the show, but so there is another VST running at the same time, but it's not playing, so it shouldn't be affecting it. But just let's try sort of like bigger chords here.
Are you guys only hearing sound on the right side?
You're only hearing it on the right side? No?
Yeah, maybe it's just me.
Just
I'm
you, I
hearing
think.
stuff on the right side.
Mine's center, but it's mono, I think.
It could be mono. It shouldn't be mono. Let me try and muck around with this a
It's
little
right
bit.
when you started playing the JD.
I've just got one earbud in, so it's hard to tell.
Let's try a different patch. Let's try
We're not very helpful, are we?
No. Let's try the Fantasia. That's a stereo patch. I'm hearing that stereo.
Oh, I think that's stereo.
Yeah, that's definitely stereo. So yeah, there you go. There's a JD8. If you've never actually ever heard a JD800, think of a D50 and then look at all those beautiful controls. Really what it was a D50 with the D50 controller, the PG, was it the PG800? I forget which the controller was called for the D50. And
it's a PG-1000.
PG-1000, that's right, yeah. And obviously it had more voices, it had a nicer effects engine, it had like the phaser in there, and it was all digital stuff, but it was actually quite a good synth for its day. A lot of people do like the JD800. It's kind of a favourite out of Roland.
It's not as polyphonic as you think, is it? I think it's, if I remember, is it 28 or something like that? Voice
It's not a
polyphonic,
lot,
but
yeah.
that's one voice per partial. So once you've laid it up, you end up with only sort of like 6 notes of polyphony. If you're using 4 partials at a time, I mean, I say we had one in Chili's people. Rupert had one. He replaced his D50 with it, and I always loved it. I really liked playing it. I really liked using it. It was a lovely sounding synthesizer. Digital, well, I suppose yes, but they all were back then, weren't they? So I think it's a great machine, and that plug-in. I mean, you know me, I'm not a great plug-in person at all, really, but that looks really good. The interface looks great, and the sounds that you're demonstrating there, they are what I think JD800 users will be going, oh yes, remember that, that's lovely. So I was interested to see your CPU going up to sort of 27-28% usage when you played a 6-note chord.
Yep.
That was like, oh my word! Imagine you've got other things running. You'd be
welcome to Roland Cloud.
Super Mac even your Super Mac could be struggling, wouldn't it? That's a bit of a blow.
So do understand that the Roland Cloud stuff still runs on Intel. Actually, it'd be interesting sort of to show you. I don't know. You can actually find out. Let me see if I can get this up for you guys. If you go into the activity viewer, activity monitor, there we go. Let me show you guys. So you can, I don't know if it's hard, if it's clear, it's like you can see there's a kind column here and it says Intel and it says Apple. Can you guys see that? You probably just make it out on the stream. It's not the clearest. So you can actually find out what processors are running as Intel processors and what processors are running as Apple processors. Then you can see the Roland Cloud Manager is still an Intel process for the Roland Cloud Manager. That's different software. And VSTs and things like that, depending on what type of VST it is, they'll definitely be running either Intel or native. Now, for example, the latest Eventide plugins like Black Hole and Harmonizer have just been updated, and they are now running natively on Apple. So if you do have an Apple M1 Silicon ARM-based thing, go and update your Eventide plugins, because they were sort of sluggish with going through the Rosetta sort of thing. Not too bad, but sluggish. It sort of added an extra process, if that makes sense. Now that they're native, they seem to be running a little bit better. One thing I've noticed too with Ableton Beta, this is a beta, so this is not the full final one. It is definitely quicker than the Ableton that runs through the old Ableton 11, which runs through Intel. So everything's quicker about it. So that's kind of nice to know if you're going down that path. So it's definitely something that I have to do. Right, I think, did we reach the end of news? Oh, there was one other bit of news. One other bit of news. We like to do interactive news, so, but this one's for Rave Dave. I think he might like to get himself one of these, a Purple Machine Plus, because Native Instruments have announced 25 years with stuff on the industry, and they're bringing out rebranded, repaint-coloured, I think there's a grey and a purple version of Machine, and one of their MIDI controllers as well. So show that one to Rave, Daren. You never know, you might get himself a Machine.
I don't think he's ever used a Machine, actually. So might be interesting. No problem. He'll come in there and just move everything as usual.
Yeah, well, you know.
So, yeah. And God help us if they get any purple 303s. Well, they have got some clear ones. I'm not showing him them, for God's sake. Don't say that. Otherwise, them will be up there purple.
Do not knock the purple 303s. Excuse me, I own one. They are awesome.
It's clear purple. We're talking a violetly purple. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, true.
Violently purple.
Violently, yes. Violently. Nicely done. All right, well, speaking of keeping things within the sort of regular segments, we do have this one, Price Watch. And this week, like all other weeks, they do have a little bit of a Halloween theme. And the first part of Price Watch is brought to you by Andrew Me. And I will show you this one because there's a story that goes with this. Thank you very much, Andrew, for bringing this to us. This is a Halloween theme. So this was a listing on Craigslist. Sorry, I had to remember what it was called. We don't have Craigslist in Australia. And it's possibly cursed EMU SP1200 sampler for $500 in Seattle. This is a true listing. Let me just read you the listing. It's actually really interesting. This SP1200 belonged to my former roommate who bought it for $500 from a woman in Queens, New York, who said her son was murdered. We were living in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York at the time. Ironically, 5 years later, in our apartment, my roommate was violently murdered with a carpet knife in his bedroom studio by his then ex-girlfriend, who learned that he broke up with her because he got another woman pregnant. This is a great story. His blood was all over the SP1200. After the funeral, his mother gave me legal possession of all his music equipment after she was told by a spirit doctor that the SP1200, sorry, I'm trying to keep a straight face here, is cursed and she must never touch it herself. This unfortunate incident was 5 years ago, and I have since moved back to Seattle and cleaned up all of the blood, and this SP1200 was looked at by a technician who says it's working perfectly. I recently had a dream about my old roommate, and he told me that I need to part ways with the SP1200 and sell it for the exact price he paid for it, for his spirit would be damned forever. Then his mother called me last night, yet telling me that the spirit doctor called her to tell her that I need to sell the machine for $500 or my roommate's soul will never rest. This, of course, scares something out of me. I never believed in the spirit world, and I don't know if there's an afterlife, but if I'm holding this onto this sampler, it's preventing my former roommate from a peaceful death, and then I think I'm selling it to the right thing to do. My dream and the phone call from his mother is too much of a coincidence. I think it's something I need to listen to, and I'm admittedly a stubborn person. I don't want to withhold any of this information because I would hate to be the cause of anyone else losing their life if there was really such a thing as curses. But if I had a weird dream and his mother got a phone call from a spirit doctor who said something similar to what I dreamt, then there must be some truth to the whole spirit world stuff. So there it is. Everything I know about this SP1200 is now out in the open. Sorry, I just added the corny thing at the end. Anyway, that was a real Craigslist listing. Sorry, that was pretty bad. I'd be interested to see if the chatties are throwing their synths at the screen right now. Burn it.
I almost did, that's for sure.
Dearie me. Has anyone ever had something like this? I mean, look, people will write anything in these ads, won't they, to get some sort of traction, social media sharing traction or whatever. It is, I don't know if it's serious, but what I will do is I will, this website's got one of those stupid, what do you call it, digital certificate error on it. So it's not a hacking site. It's just one of those ones that people haven't updated their digital certificate. So if you do click on it and it gives you a warning, I've told you it's not me trying to hack into you. That's the website where you got that information from. Thanks to Andrew Me who sent that one in. By the way,
try anything to sell something. My JD990 was supposedly used by Joe Satriani in one of his albums. So.
Oh. Well, speaking of your stuff, Andy, you did send in some stuff this week, didn't you? And I kind of like it when you send stuff in and it's nice and fresh. How about this Oberheim 4 voice? Now, I'm flagging Kent here because Kent was talking about being poor. Kent, you might want to sell some of your gear, mate, if you're poor. Anyway, where's my mouse gone? Come on, mouse. Mousey, mousey, mousey. I need my mouse back. Here we go. Right, because I need to go to... I want to show you guys the listing, the actual real listing. Because sometimes it's nice to see the actual real listing. So we'll do this. There we go. Boom. Oh. There's the actual real listing. So you can actually now see the difference between US dollars and Australian dollars. Thanks for Reverb to... So this one is in Norway. Doesn't really say anything else. This one's probably not... There's no more photos, so this one's not really helping us anyway. But anyway, let's see if we can get the listings up for some of these. Andy, the next one we've got is this one, which is definitely for Kent to check out.
It's a bargain.
Yeah. Why don't we just go straight to the listing itself? It's still live, and we've got lots of photos to show this time. So let's have a look at the photos. Yeah, here we go.
Since Zurich, Wags, you can just nip and get it.
There you go. Look at that thing of beauty, hey guys? Beautiful. This is live on Reverb. Who wants to bid?
It is beautiful.
Is it guaranteed to have an extra plectrum inside of it?
It's probably got a lot of things inside of it. For 111,000 Australian dollars, that's a lot of Malula bars. What do they tell us about this listing? Anything interesting here? Was it owned by anyone? They always quote Vangelis or, but he probably didn't own this. So this one was purchased by a famous studio in England. Paul McCartney used the studio. So he's not saying he doesn't know if Paul McCartney played it, but it was... There you go. So it's got a...
He just did a tour one day.
Yeah. He's probably walked past it. Dear me. See, people put anything in these listings. For 111,000 Australian dollars, that's pretty insane, let me tell you. Okay, so I don't always get to do 80,000 US, there you go. I don't always get to do the listings live, which is good. We do have one more. We're going to do this one, which is 40,000 US dollars, sorry. That's the Roland System 700. And I think I've got this one on here as well. There we go. So 54,000 Australian dollars, lots of modules. That is a lot of money for that. That is a hell of a lot of money just for that.
That's only part of the system.
What is on here?
It's just one wing, isn't it?
It's only 8 blocks. 3 VCOs, 1 VCF, 1 VCA, 2 envelope, 1 ring mod, 1 noise gen, 1 LFO, 1 sample and hold. That's not the whole thing. Is it? No, I don't think it's the whole thing. It's just a block. Yeah, that's a lot of money just for that. I would say that one probably qualifies. That one probably qualifies for this.
Ergonomic chairs, 4 of them. What do you want? 180. He's dreaming.
Dad, 450.
For jousting sticks, tell him he's dreaming.
Yes. Roland System 700 for $40,000 US. Tell him he's dreaming. Right, there we go. That ends the price watch segments. What was your favourite price watch this week, gentlemen?
Oh, the CS80, because it's just gorgeous, isn't it? I mean, end of story. Just beautiful. Just a lovely picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, CS80.
Kent. Kent. This is the Kent comment. Just wait for it to come up. Just wait. Here it comes. There we go. Bleeding mad. There we go. Right. We do have a new segment this week. We do have it. Who's excited? I'm excited. Who's excited? We've got a new segment. I've even done this. Yep. Name That Synth. Yay! New segment. This is going to be fun. All right. So let's get a couple of rules out of the way for this one. Basically, if you do like this segment and you want to kind of contribute in the future, best way to do it is through the Discord server, which I have told you guys about before, but just in case you forgot, there it is there. Check out the Discord server. There is a room in the Discord server for Name That Synth. You can post your videos in there during the week, or you can let me know, communicate to me if you want it on the show, you want to keep it a secret or anything like that. But this week's, the first week, the version is brought to us by none other than Eddie, who's in the chat room. And it was nice of him to do the first one because here, I'm going to kind of control the video. So we're going to do a little bit of pausing and stuff. So I'm not going to reveal the synth yet, but see if anyone can work it out. Here we go. Right, pausing it there because we're going to reveal the name of the synth in a second. Ooh, let us know in the chat if you guys think you know what it is. Straight away. Oh, we've got a winner already. There we go. Jeez, that was quick. That was quick. Oh, some people are wrong. Some people are wrong. Oh, you've got some wrong people there. Some people are wrong. There's definitely someone who got in very, very early with the correct answer. And we shall reveal the answer. Just wait for, there it is there. Well done to Mike. He got it correct. Holy Trinity. Let's go see if he's definitely correct, because he should be. Let's watch the rest of the video. There we go. Beautiful. Well done. What do you guys think of Name That Synth?
What's the keyboard above?
It's a DX7, I think. That one, I think.
That was a tricky one with the lighting because it's a kind of a silver synth, right? And it looked kind of black there. So.
Well, I thought you could see Trinity in the side where the screen is.
No, it doesn't say Trinity there. No, it says something else there. Yeah,
well, that's why I got the Trinity from.
You got it, did you? Okay. It says touch view.
I always wanted one ages ago.
That's what it says, Daren. If you're wondering, it says touch view in the corner.
Wait, so you see my eyesight. You see, I only seen the T, so I thought, well, it must be a Korg.
I have the Trinity rack, but not the keyboard.
Yeah. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this segment every week, and we'll just do one because otherwise, the show will go on forever. But we're going to do various things like this, where we might show the outside of the synth, we might show the inside of the synth. It'll always have audio to help us. But yeah, name that synth. Hey, who likes it? Who likes it?
Yeah, I've got the wrong end of the stick. I thought we had to give it a name. You mean identify the synth? I thought you were like, you hear it and you go, oh, I'm definitely going to call that synth Michelle or...
Oh, you're an idiot. You are an absolute idiot. Seriously. It can't be that hard. Dumb Jezza likes it. See, my work is done. See? Dumb Jezza likes it.
This is Brexit, right?
Andy, so, why would you even think that anyway? Why was you sat there thinking, I know when he says name a synth, I'm just going to give it
I thought he'd call it Nigel.
Mary.
Nigel.
No. Making plans for... Only making plans for Nigel. I've been making plans for Nigel. That's it. This is now Nigel. That's it. Nigel has now got a name.
You're an idiot. You are an absolute idiot.
Because no one's used Nigel, so...
It looks more like an Eamon.
Eamon. Yeah, no, Nigel it is. I'm sorry, right, Nigel. That's good. Get me silver marker pen and write Nigel. I could do that now, couldn't I?
Now look what you've started. You've completely ruined the concept. Like
spoiled it now. I'm sorry.
And,
I didn't mean to. I seem to
what sense have you got in your studio? Wherever I go now. Well, this is Jonathan.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's get the show back into some sort of form of not so stupidness. Right. Okay. So last week we did stumble over the Akai Force's new features, and we didn't quite get to show some of the parts to that. So I do kind of want to talk about the other side of it, which was the digital audio interface side of it. Let me see if I can get this up here. So we've got the Akai Force just to the left there. I'll just move the camera to the left. There it is there. Sorry about all the cabling. I still haven't fixed all my patching up yet. Now, if I press another magic button, I think we should be able to get the screen of the Akai Force. I have to wake it up. It's going sort of in some screensaver mode at the moment. Right, now, what we're going to do is we are going to plug the USB connector into my Expert Sleepers module, which you guys can see right there. There's the Expert Sleepers ES8, which you guys should be able to see right there. Okay, and you can see there's a nice little USB cable coming out the back of it. We're going to do that, and I'll keep the camera on there, and then I'll keep the camera on here, and I'm going to just walk on over to the Force. I do want to show you guys what this is about, because this is an update that the Akai MPC's got, and now the Force has got it. I think it's actually a cool thing. Right, so wake up the screen here. Wakey, wakey. There we go. Beautiful. Right, so what we need to do first is I want to show you, if you go into Preferences and you go into Audio, you can now see that you can actually select your audio interface or audio device here, and you can choose from internal. The internal obviously is the outputs and inputs on the back of the Akai Force, or it will pick up the class compliant audio interface there. So if you don't have an MPC and you do have a Force, this will be the first time you'll be seeing this. And then when you go back into your mixer, if your audio interface, by the way, has 32 inputs and outputs, like for example the Behringer X Air 32, you can select that checkbox to get the maximum of 32 ins and outs. But in this case, the Expert Sleepers ES8 only has 8 outs and 4 ins, which is good. But the cool thing about it is you can see this is the mixer side, and there's an I/O section here. And the I/O section enables us to choose each track and how we want to route the audio back out through the audio interface. Now, just as a general rule, it will choose the first one stereo pair, which is 1 and 2. So if I was just to play something, it should let's hit play here. Now, do you guys get that? You guys getting that audio?
Yeah, bit quiet,
Good.
but getting it.
Bit low.
Yeah, it's going to be low because I've got it. You can see that the actual sliders are actually quite low, so I can make them a lot higher. Like, okay. Right, now, one of the things you might want to do is, this is an old track I've been working on. Right, so at the moment that's actually going through, I'll just leave it running. It's going to be annoying for a minute, but we're going to show a couple of things here. That's going through the ES8, okay, which is this baby here. In fact, you can actually see, if I grab a pencil, you can probably see, can you see those little lights lighting up there underneath those sockets? Can you see how it's lighting up? That's showing that there's audio coming out. It's one of the features of the ES8. Okay, and as a result, I can then now pipe this through my Eurorack system. What can we do? We can put it through the Typhoon, right, which is clouds. There we go. Why don't we do that? So it's now going through clouds. And then you can turn off the mix. All right, so that's pretty cool. You know, we're now piping my Akai Force through my Eurorack. How awesome is that? Well, what would be even more awesome is if we could make use of, let's get the camera back to the, oops, sorry. Let's go back to here again. Oops. Just move these cables out the way. You've got more outputs on here, right? So let's make use of that. You can see I've got a third cable plugged in here. And what I want to do is I want to make one of the tracks on this go to an analog sound. Let's go over here and up a bit. And to the left a bit, and we should get there eventually. There we go. It's going to go through the Behringer phase shifter, and then out of the phase shifter into the Juno 106 chorus. All right, so to do that, go back to the Force. Now the Force is doing some sort of weird update at the moment. Why is it doing that? Stop updating. There you go. Okay, so all I have to do, if I was to mute some of these channels, right, so we're just listening to this one for the moment. I'm going to go into I/O, and then for that particular track, I'm now going to choose out 3. And all of a sudden now, we'll unmute those other 2 tracks. And we don't want to mute them. There we go. So now we've got the chorus running. Let's turn the effect on. Here we go. I'll go back to here. So we can muck around with this. Can turn the other chorus off and turn it back on again. And we can also go back to the Force and unmute our other 2 tracks. Sorry, it's getting a bit repetitive with the noise, but it's purely just train your ears on some sort of sound that we're getting here. Now we'll go back over to the clouds and bring that sound in again. So now I have affected 3 different sounds out of my Akai Force, going back through Eurorack and into my audio system. Right, let's give that a can for a sec and come back to the seat. There we go. What do you guys think of that? That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Trust you to put the bloody camera back on when I'm blowing me nose.
Yeah. I was muted. Yeah, cool.
Well, I won't worry about you guys. We'll see what the chatties think. Yeah, so the whole idea of that is so it's to show you guys that you can now route all your audio out, also in as well. Don't forget that's also an input. So if we were to go back to the where's my thing? Which view have I got right now? Go back to oops. Not that one. That one. Go back to the Expert Sleepers module. See, on the left-hand side, you can see these are all inputs. The 4 inputs there. So I can route audio back into my Force and sample that as well. We're not going to do that now because I think it's you guys get the idea. But the whole purpose of this is to show you the class-compliant audio interface, and what sort of stupid thing I did was just to show you that it's processing those samples back out through Eurorack and back into my audio interface. Now, one of the questions you guys are going to have is, how are you hearing it? And what kind of trickery am I doing here? It's completely unrelated to the Force, but I thought you guys might be actually interested in this because this is part of my progression into my studio move. So this is related to a few shows back that I've started talking about how I'm doing my audio interface. I do want to show you guys that I'm running the RME Digiface system now, and I'm running it in a Mac M1, and it's running beautifully. It's not a class-compliant audio interface. It requires a special driver and everything, but you'll understand why, because it's got some pretty cool things in the back end. One of the biggest benefits that I've got right now is I don't have any ground loop noise through my system at all. And that's huge because I'm running an audio connection between 2 computers, and they're usually the biggest culprits, especially if you're using some sort of USB or audio through an interface through a cable, audio cable or something like that. But what I'm actually doing here is, it's not going to be that easy to see, but basically all of the ADATs that you can see in here are all the Behringer 88, 8200. There's multiples of these. The actual, the RME Digiface has the ability to take 4 inputs and 4 outputs of ADAT at 8 inputs per port, and also 8 outputs per port. So you guys can do the math on how many you can get out of that. The other cool thing about it is that you can do loopback routing within this total mix. It's also got effects and a whole bunch of other things, but the loopback routing is actually really important, especially if you're running a show like I do, where you guys want to hear what I'm actually doing. What I'm actually doing, which is quite interesting, is I'm running an ADAT out of one of the channels that I'm actually not using at the moment, and I'm running that into my Studio 192 audio interface on my PC here. And the Studio 192 interface on my PC has ADAT in and out as well. So that's how I'm getting the audio out of the RME into my PC, and it's because it's light. There's no electrical connection. There's no physical. It's just digital light data going between the two. That's how I'm able to get around that ground loop noise issue. It's a little bit tricky to understand with just that screenshot that I showed you before, but it's a godsend because it means that I've got the ability to. I don't know if you guys remember the show I did last week where I was playing YouTube videos and they were glitching out. The audio was glitching out. I was using a different Mac. I've got my Mac Mini moved over here now. I'll show you guys in a second. I'll move the camera around. And it's right next to me, plugged into the Ethernet network. It's not running over wireless. And the other benefit I've got is that the RME interface is sitting next to the Studio 192, and I can just run a light pipe cable between the two. It makes everything really, really simple in my little setup here. So unrelated to the Force, I know, but that's how you guys are able to hear what's happening in Eurorack and in the Force at the same time because of Total Mix, which, you know, you can see it can get quite complex, that, but it's actually really, 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 really useful. Big hats off to the guys at RME, because I actually think it's pretty bloody awesome. Right, now I'm going to show you with a bit of zooming out. I'll just move my chair back so you guys can see my streaming setup. You can see me wiggling the headphone cord there. All right, you can see my PC under my desk, okay? And you can see me holding the remote control here. So there you go, there's my mission control. There's the streaming software, and on the right-hand side, you can see my head. That's the Mac Mini screen there, and the Mac Mini is just sitting under the keyboard controller there. So if I move the keyboard controller out the way, you'll see the. Let me just do that. Just one sec. I'll just move it out the way. Actually, you probably won't be able to see it. Let me unplug it for a sec. I do want to show you guys the interface because it's actually cool. It's tiny. This will give you like a visual of how small this is. I'm going to have to just take my desk apart slightly here to do this. Okay. All right. Okay, so zoom in a bit. Sorry, it's a little bit messy. See the little interface there with the lights flashing? I'll keep going closer to it. Hopefully there's no personal information on my desk there. But you guys can see that's the little RME interface there. That's tiny. You can actually see it sitting on top of the Mac Mini there. So that's the Mac Mini, that's the interface sitting on top. Sorry about the cable mess at the moment. I'm just playing around with things, and you can see the Presonus Studio 192. The Presonus Studio 192 is connected to my PC, okay, which is below. You guys see the PC below the desk there? Right there, underneath, and the Mac Mini. So the PC is running those two screens, the Mac Mini is running that. I can run two screens off the Mac Mini as well. There's actually, believe it or not, there's actually a fourth screen, I should say, which is, come on, go up. I don't know if it will go up. Oh, there you go. There's the fourth screen up there. That's actually a PC screen that I used during the show. Anyway, I have to put my desk back, so otherwise I won't be able to run the rest of the show. But yeah, just thought I'd show you guys that. It's actually been a really, really good setup. There's some disadvantages with it, of course. Like, for example, those who really like those high-end pure sample rates may not like ADAT at 48K. They might think it's not good enough. But for me, I'm happy. And if I'm happy, then that's all that counts, doesn't it? Right, gentlemen, we are going to do, next, we're going to do some Halloween sounds. Let's see if we can get the sound back up again.
I think Andy's gone.
Yeah, he's sneezing or something.
No, he hasn't.
All right, here we go.
Oh,
can you guys hear that?
he's going to light a light. Oh, just see his face.
You guys can hear that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. So, look, I haven't gone out all stops and decided I'm going to play you guys a whole bunch of Halloween style patches. But one of the things that a lot of people told me was a lot of cheesy movies in the 80s used digital native dance on the D50 as a Halloween patch, as a kind of that they use that to kind of, get people sort of, I don't know, scared.
That's proper like B-movie sort of.
Oh, absolutely. It's cheesy, cheesy, cheesy. So to me, I just wanted to start the progressions of Halloween synthy sounds. You know, there's mine. I've done my job. Bye. No. You know what I thought we'd do is, Andy, are you, as in Synthetic, are you ready to show yours? Are you good to go?
Yeah, I think
sounds like.
I was trying to audition it earlier without messing up the stream, but let me see if it works now.
All right, here we go.
I track down a cable. So I did want to do a quick thing with the crazy sounds on the drum, but because I know Dom's in the chat and he loves this guy here. This is the original SP404 with the compact flash card.
Yes.
And I actually bought this originally to make Halloween sound effects for kids coming by the house at my brother's place back in like 2008 or whatever it was. I also intended to use it as a sampler to go with my EMX because I didn't have an ESX at the time to do the sampling part. So this MIDI'd up really well with the EMX as a sampler because, you know, it doesn't have velocity pads and it's the editing's kind of a pain on it, but it is a pretty cool, formidable instrument, even without all the new updates they have in the new one. But with the Halloween sounds on here, because you hold so many on a compact flash card, and you do have to do this layering with, you know, changing layers, and then you double tap it, and then you get the blinking for the other layers. So it's not as immediate as you would like sometimes to switch between sounds. But let me know, since I can't hear on my end, let me know if you can hear this at all. This shouldn't be a copyright thing because I took some samples from the Resident Evil game. Tell me if that's too loud or not loud enough. Or
we're not getting anything yet. There we go. Yep, we're getting it now.
So really good music in the original Resident Evil game. I just stole this piece of it as a bed. And then you can easily go in here and add wind and lightning and some goofy laughs and bubbling cauldrons and stuff, and layer it all and do the mixing on the fly. And then also, because it has the input with the mic and really nice effects on it, you can be doing crazy, scary sounds to scare the kids with the microphone at the same time. Yeah, I even stole some of the zombie grunts and stuff on here. I don't know if those are coming through or not. But I can't really hear it on this end, so I'm just winging it here. But anyway, it's a very useful instrument for, obviously I know theater people use these for sound effects. They have gobs of memory, just one compact flash card, like this is a 1 gig card. It's tons of sounds on here. I have more memory than I actually have slots for the actual sounds, because this is only the 12 pad model. 12 times, I think it's 10 layers. But with the built-in effects and the live stuff with the mic and, you know, this easy to bring stuff in and out, it's really, really nice. And it's also great to hook up to as a, you know, an accessory drum machine to things. So I just wanted to bring this up in case people had SP404s and were just letting them get dusty or never thought of using them for fun stuff like Halloween. Because a lot of those sounds I just found on the internet back in 2008, just from various websites that had interesting sound effects. And some I sampled myself. Some I sampled like my niece screaming her head off when she was really young, and then pitched it down. And I also worked at the zoo at the time, so I had raccoon and bobcat growls that I play with the pitch on those for animal crazy sounds and scary monsters. So it's just a really useful thing beyond the typical uses people use it for. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Inky, she just said she loves it, as you can see there. So that's a good thing. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Andy, for doing that. And, you know, obviously samples were huge for those sort of things. They used emulators, they used all sorts of stuff. Brooksy, you were going to say something before, or is that something related to something previously? Or did you forget?
I just wondered when you were playing digital native dance, if you really want the spooky sound, if you play, I'm going to be on Muso now, play a diminished fifth, so a C with an F sharp.
Yeah, and then you can actually muck around on the joystick as well.
The devil's fifth.
Yeah.
And most of the tracks I heard that sound on, you could always hear they were careful not to play the native dance part. Like Mr. Mister had a track for a while that was popular, had that sound in it.
There we go. Anyway. Yes. And I kept it on Andy's so we could see his facial reactions as I was playing the shit sound. All right. Andy, speaking of you, flip your camera around to the right. Yeah. Flip your camera around to the right. Yeah, do it. Look at that. There is no longer a meth-addicted Pro 1. Yay! That's brilliant. So tell us a little bit about your
demo.
Yeah, because this was done by Kent, who's in the chat, for those wondering. He fixes synths in the UK. And this is the Fatar keyboard upgrade, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
No? Okay.
No, it isn't the Fatar keyboard. It's just basically the Pro 1 keyboard that's been cleaned up, rebushed, had the broken key replaced. The broken key was that one.
Yep.
And it's had the power supply recapped and sort of sorted out. It no longer hums. It had a terrible electrical hum. That's been completely sorted out, and basically just given probably a good clean and stuff. There are still one or two little issues with it, to be honest, which I've discovered. I mean, strange thing. Well, I can show you in a sec if you like, but it needs to be left on. If you switch it off, leave it on, switch it back on again, the oscillators are all over the place still. So you have to switch it on, get them sort of in tune, and sort of leave it. Now it's been standing there for a while now, so I've no idea if it's actually still it's still in tune. Well, this is the vagaries of owning an old machine, I suppose. I mean, the thing itself, I mean, it did used to develop strange tuning systems of its own anyway. So, but it's a million times better than it was. I can actually play it a bit if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll give a go at the most famous Pro 1 solo ever. I wonder if anybody can guess what it is I'm about to have a go at. Go on, have some suggestions in the chat. What's the most famous Pro 1 solo?
Well, probably the Yazoo, wouldn't it? Yazoo would probably be.
For Yazoo.
Yeah, that would be my go.
Oh, you've got. All right, I'm gonna go. I'll give you my version. It's not Yazoo.
All right.
Well, old Depeche Mode.
Yeah, Depeche Mode. Well, I wouldn't have picked that, but yeah, that's definitely one. Absolutely.
I don't get it. I mean, it was badly played. It's been years since I
do get it, but I'm not going to say it because I want other people to say it. I know what it is. Who's going to get it in the chat? Why don't we put the chat window up and see if anyone gets it?
Oh, nobody? Oh, come on, you guys.
I know what it is.
Sorry, I feel like an idiot. I should get that, but I didn't get it. So
I know exactly what it is. I'm not going to say because I don't want to give it away.
Oh,
It's actually one of my favourite songs.
it's a great track, actually.
Yeah, it's a really good track. I actually,
Can I play it again, Andy?
I completely forgot about that being a Pro 1 too. Yeah, play a bit more. All right, Andy, we'll give what Andy probably can't hear us because he hasn't got his headphones on. Andy, when you put your
I have it on.
No, the other Andy, Brooksy, when you put the headphones back on, just give him a little hint with the words. Give him a little hint with the words.
Give a little hint with the words.
Yeah.
Hello, Dad. Hello, Dad. It's
You're very
well, somebody's put Marillion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simon Fenn's put Marillion.
Yes.
Garden Party by Marillion.
Yay! Well done, Simon. He gets the Guernsey.
Oh God, it's been a long time.
I was hoping someone. I was
it.
actually starting to think that people don't like Marillion for a minute there. I thought, what? Shitty. Yeah. I used to listen to that when I was in high school. That song.
Yeah, sometimes it's actually when I was in high school as well, because we did a cover version of it in the school band. That was my first introduction to it. It was at the time that Misplaced Childhood was out.
Yeah.
But that track comes from is it from, I forget which one is it from? Script for a Jester's Tear, Fugazi, one of those earlier albums. But I've always
it's Fugazi. I think it's Fugazi, isn't it?
I think so. But
yeah, I mean that's one of the better ones. So.
And then there was the video Reel to Reel, and definitely on the Reel to Reel video, he's definitely playing it on a Pro 1, so which is why I'm saying it's a Pro 1 solo. Oh yeah, So the thing's up and working, and it's actually playable. Oh my word, I haven't been able to do that. Can I just demonstrate something else which people may not be aware of? Is just how bloody massive the thing is. I'll just go and show you in comparison the Behringer Pro 1. Actually, the Behringer Pro 1. Is smaller than the entire keyboard. I'll show you what I mean.
I love it. That's brilliant.
It's adorable.
Look at the little baby. That is brilliant. That is really, really brilliant. I love it. Oh, come on, guys. There's Punch and Judy. There's Sasquatch is saying the only song he can remember was Kaylee. Kaylee's great, but yeah, Punch and Judy was good, and that's Garden Party was good.
It's covered with that horrible DX electric piano sound.
That era between 81 to say 85, probably go listen to the Marillion albums released around that sort of period. It's brilliant. Brings me back to high school days. I was probably right in the middle of high school in those years when they were coming out. I remember when I was a kid and I was listening to Marillion, I had a mate that I went to school with, and we thought we were the only two people in the world that liked Marillion, because everyone was listening to sort of popular music and progressive rock. There was, your sort of more famous progressive rock people like Pink Floyd and those sort of people, but like no one had heard of Marillion. And actually, as we started, having parties and barbecues and things like that, and people were coming over and we'd play Marillion, we actually discovered that we were definitely not alone. There were so many people that liked them. So yeah, if you've never ever checked out Marillion, there's going to be a massive journey of discovery for you if you've never ever checked them out. Wonder if the guys are still cooking around, Andy. Are they still cooking around?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fish left in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, 90s, I think it was. Yeah.
Another guy came in. But they've been going on ever since. My cousin, she is a real fan of Marillion and the modern Marillion, and she rates it. She's passed some things on to me to have a listen to. I've just Native VS has just said in the chat that he's interested in the Marillion of this century, which I do understand that. They've become like a cult almost like a cult band. Whereas they were once massive, they've sort of shrunk into a very, very core but very loyal following. There's an album that my cousin sent me. It's themed around Donald Campbell, the guy who did the sort of the water speed record and was killed on Coniston Water. I've forgotten what the thing's called.
Yes. I remember that. Yeah. That was actually not bad.
I can't remember.
That wasn't too bad.
It was a good album, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, really good album.
But
anyway,
different. But different. Not definitely not like the 80s Marillion.
Yeah, exactly. If you're into sort of the Misplaced Childhood, Fugazi, that's Script Progester's Tear, those albums. It's very the Genesis influence on those albums is really apparent.
Yeah.
But the modern Marillion is far less so. In fact, it's a lot more almost like folk rock, really, or it's acoustic-y sounding. But yeah, I'm sorry for my rubbish playing. I'm nothing like as good as Mark Kelly.
The Tony Banks and Peter Gabriel influence, I would say, it's probably more so than yeah. But yeah, we won't split hairs. Yeah. But yeah, okay. So, Andy, were you going to show? Did you have something in your hand that you wanted to show there? As in,
this is the little ATVA frame.
Yeah. So
there's a funny story behind it because Takahashi-san's son, who runs the company now, I think mostly, but is a really good percussion player, and he designed this with some guys. And it's Takahashi is supposedly means bridge or connection in Japanese, but he also says can also mean missing angle. So that's why he has this little shape here.
Right.
So it's kind of
like
a fun
wedge.
fact from yeah, exactly. So it's based on a frame drum like a baron or a tar. Like on a tar you'd play it kind of like this.
Yeah. And
on a baron you'd use like a little beater and do some kind of little repeating thing like that.
Yeah.
What's really cool about this is it's basically a synth. I mean, it's a drum, but the kind of stuff you can do with this with the built-in effects and the DSP is literally the most fun thing I've bought in a long time. I can't believe this thing. So I found a few presets that if I can play them correctly and it's not too loud because the dynamics are crazy on this, you might be able to hear what's so cool about it. So hopefully this is not too loud because I can't hear it on this end. But this preset is called Mad Temple, and it has this heavy polycarbonate thing. So when you play it like a normal drum, there's not much coming out of it. There's not enough resonance because the contact mics pick up everything and amplify it and make you go crazy. So see if you can hear this.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like resonating, isn't it?
That's mental.
So that's just one simple preset, and you can with dynamics and adjustments, and there's some 4 layers in the back to mute on the fly and design on the fly. There's even they just added a randomize button, which I always love. So you can go totally off the wall and make crazy stuff you can never make consciously, right?
Yeah.
So that one's pretty good. There's also this one. This is called Deep Sea Gong. Almost like a sword thing from a movie. So there's that one. Hopefully that sounds okay. And there's let's go to this one. This is called Drum Infinity. Some of these you can actually either mute to kill the effects on the fly or unmute to make the effects bloom. I think that's doing it. Is it muting the effects on this one?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's really fun to have dynamic effects. I've not seen that on other stuff. I have a Korg wave drum. I have some other stuff that just can't touch this thing. 5, 10. Let's try this one. Is it this one? 5. Oh, C. 5. This is called Lime Grotto. So again, some of these metallics, some of these have FM qualities, some of these have physical modeling qualities. There are plenty of presets that sound like real instruments if you want to be more traditional, just amplified with effects. But so this one was there, and then there's one more here. D. I think it's this one. Oh, Beast K. This is a fun one. So as I do the dynamics, you can make the reverb go away.
That is cool.
And I swore, I watched the new Dune movie. I swore that Hans Zimmer used this in the score. There's some sounds that sounded just like this thing, and it's a very unique instrument. So I bet he has one of these. But Ken can speak to that. And I'll just show you one more that's totally mental.
You mean Ken can speak to his cardboard cutout?
There you go. Is it this one or oh yeah, it's called Hyper Asia 3D. I think this is the one. Is that the one? Asian Delight. Oh no, this one. I think it's Wicked Stairs. I think it's this one. So they have you can lock in scales, and based on dynamics or based on basically aftertouch pressure on this thing to make the scales go through. So when you learn the feel, and it has this Middle Eastern scale in this one. So it's a little FME there, kind of. Anyway, so there's a bunch more crazy things this is going to do. I don't want to take too much time with it, but
no, absolutely.
It's expensive. It's hard to find. I had to buy this from Thomann. I actually had to pay some kind of crazy import duty, which I never had to do before from Germany.
Oh,
I guess the rules changed recently.
Yeah.
So that was a rude awakening, but hey, it was only $70. So I'm like, this thing costs a lot more than that. I guess I can handle $70, but it's a nice bamboo frame, really durable. You can see the back panel. There's a nice little screen and buttons on either side, and this little kind of alpha dial thingy, just to change stuff on the fly without having to even look. You can do muscle memory and just make changes on the fly.
So let's just for the people that didn't hear the name of it, it's called a Roland. Sorry, it's not called a Roland. It's
ATV. No, it's former Roland. ATV is the company. They also make electronic drum sets.
Yeah.
And other percussion stuff. ATV A frame. It's lowercase a, uppercase F frame. And I have a Baran on the wall here. I like hand drums a lot. I have talking drum and a doumbek and a djembe and a bunch of other crazy percussion stuff and rain stick and didgeridoo and all that stuff. But this right now is my most favorite instrument.
So this is the website here.
Yeah, they're kind of sleepy right now. This is one of those things that's either came out too early or too late. I'm not sure which, but the videos are very compelling. The guys who play it are like masters at playing this thing. I'm just kind of a beginner, really. And I was sold immediately on it, not just because I love percussion, but this is basically a synth. It's a really crazy synth. And so I don't know if you like dynamic stuff, you don't like stuff to be so robotic and synthesizer, like sequence driven constantly, perfectly on the beat, and you want to mix it up a bit and go totally nuts with sound design. This is like a soundtrack in a box, basically.
Okay, cool, beautiful. Like the demo too. Well done.
Not cheap though, so yeah.
Good demo. Yeah, it kind of reminds me. I've always been wanting to show you guys this on my show, and I haven't really. I don't know. I just keep forgetting to do it, and that's this little baby that I've got. The
oh yeah,
the Hand Sonic. I love that. I actually use that quite
I
a
bought
lot.
those too. Yeah, those are good. Yeah.
They are really expressive. The pads on these are actually quite squishy. So as a result, you can, the sort of aftertouch and velocity stuff you can do with those pads is quite interesting. And
that's the 20, right? HPD 20.
That's the 20, yeah.
Yeah, I have the 15. Yeah.
The 15 is the older one. You can put like a USB and load your own samples into it and stuff. The only thing that disappoints me is they really needed a better editor for it, I feel. Because I felt like there was some of the programming of some of the patches that they brought out, the first maybe 5-10 patches that they brought out was insane, like the amount of expressivity you get with that. But I never found that I was able to bring that myself. If I was to put my own samples in, for example, I never found that I was able to sort of, to program that sort of level of expressivity into it. So obviously the Roland engineers were able to sort of access more features within the firmware of that than what they were allowing us users to do. So like I said, I think the HBD20 should have a better editor. So maybe one day. It's still being sold, so that's still their current hand drummer that Roland actually sell. That's the current one.
They just finally came out with the drum machine, the TRS editor finally.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
So
but that's how many years late? This thing's been out a lot longer than the TR8S. So
sure. Yeah.
Mind you, though, this is a product that is kind of sold a lot less. It's not a TRS sort of TR8S volume sort of product. This one would probably be more your schools and your studios that would sort of buy this sort of stuff.
No, I bought that one used, the HPD 15, because it was just too much money, and it was more of an experimental thing. So it was in really good shape. I even got that crazy stand for it, that you can bolt onto the fold-up stand. So you can just sit there with the chair and jam out with your headphones.
Yeah, I want to show you guys the stand.
Yeah.
So that's the stand.
Oh, so that's a classic drum stand. I actually have this funny one they made. It's like a blue tubes.
All right.
Have you seen that one before?
I haven't seen it, no. I thought you were talking about that.
Yeah. No, that's more of a traditional drum stand with the plate on it. This is just some funky thing they made just for the HPD 15.
Right.
And it's blue tubular metal, very lightweight and chunky, and kind of folds up into a linear piece you can just carry along with it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. It's just the early V drum sounds that are on it are just okay. They're not really that great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you that the 15 is still used by Jean-Michel Jarre in his concerts, even to this day. So he's had his 15 probably for 20 years. Because
it has those
it's kind of late,
which make a huge difference.
That one doesn't have that. So and that's but what they did is they replaced the strips with with the way the pads worked. So the pads you've got don't have the squishiness like they have. It's like they replaced the strips with the squishiness of the pads. It was kind of like, for me, they should have just done both.
It's more like the wave drum where they layered it better.
Yeah. They should have just left the strips there and added the extra. For me,
awesome. For doing
I like the strips.
Or doing some kind of a scraper thing, it's awesome.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Castanets and all kinds of stuff.
It's one of those Roland products that I feel has a lot of legs. Like, honestly, that the amount of engineering that went into the hand drum, the hand sonic, I think they call it, don't they? Probably, no other real... I can't really think of any other product in the world that's gone to that sort of level. I know there are some other hand-based tapping type drum products out there, but not to the degree that these have got. So they've got a little corner for themselves.
Cat has some, and Simmons has some, and Lisa still makes some stuff. It's not so great.
Yeah, the Lisa stuff is pretty basic, yeah.
But like this and the wave drum are basically islands. There's no MIDI.
Yeah, that's a really cool. But I'm very keen on that. So Toman, you reckon how much?
Another beautiful thing about this is
how much are those things?
So I put the little USB power bank on the back. So with that, headphones and this little strap, you just walk around all day and just play for yourself, or busking. If you want to do busking somewhere.
I'm just gonna have to check out the Toman website if it decides to load. Here we go.
Oh, the price? Oh, yeah, they're about $1,500. So they're not cheap.
Here it is.
I want to make sure I got one new. I found a used one that was pretty good price, but something like this, it takes a beating. I'm going to get a new one.
I think that's Australian dollars, isn't it? Let's change that to. There we go. So £1,100, £1,200 plus VAT. Oh no, including VAT. Okay, cool. There's actually more information on here than there is on their website.
Toman has a nice website. Yeah. It's the first time I bought from them.
Interesting. Look, interesting how we were talking about this, and then there's the PD20 there next to it. So we were talking about sort of like drum pad type products. These are kind of your go-to ones that you see quite regularly in music stores. You see the Clavier. That Clavier one's pretty cool. And then it's interesting they don't have the Alesis.
Nord drum is fun. Yeah, my friend had one for a while, and I was trying to sample some of it. It's pretty good. Yeah,
it is. I actually wouldn't mind getting one just for I do like the Clavier stuff. It's good. Cool. Beautiful. All right. Should we go? Should we talk more? Yeah, you want to say one more thing?
Oh, just one more thing. I didn't hook it up, but just honorable mention. Xils-labs, the pipe. This thing is so awesome for just doing fun musical things. It's basically a high-end kazoo, but also the input can be used for a synth or a guitar or a regular microphone if you just want to use the effects engine, which is incredibly powerful. But for Halloween, this would also be pretty awesome because you have pitching, crazy effects, multi-effects. Just Vlad Krimer is just a genius. I have this and I have the Lyra 8. It's really great.
Okay, fantastic. All right,
it's not cheap either, but it's really well built. So
beautiful. All right, Wagoo does giving us a little super chat there. I need to catch it before it disappears. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? It's there, but it's not there. Why didn't it come up? Oh, you little bugger. This software is shocking. It's supposed to catch the super chats, and it's not. I am going to have words. Words, I say. Words. Many of them. Colloquial ones.
You need your rant stinger now.
Yeah, I do.
Rant.
I don't have a rant this week. But big thank you to Wagoo for the super chat. It's just disappearing off the top of the screen. Thank you very much. I was going to ask you, well, we actually do have the chatties there. Let's just go back to them. I was going to ask you guys in the chat. You probably already mentioned knowing the way you guys talk in sort of topical circles. What is your favourite synth for doing Halloween type sounds? You know, Halloween, aka scary movie, aka horror themes. You know, I kind of think we're kind of down that sort of thing. Someone mentioned to me, why don't we look at like Stranger Things and Escape from New York. Sorry, I always forget which one it is, but the one of the Carpenter ones. Obviously, he did the Halloween movies as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, what is your favourite synth for Halloween things? A couple that I sort of came across before you guys in chat. Let us know what your answers are. A couple that I came across. The ARP Odyssey apparently is a go-to synth that many use as a sort of horror themey type synth. I should probably pan the camera around and I'll show you why. Because it's actually got something on it that is probably not quite as obvious as you think until you actually own one. And that is, let me get the camera happening, bang. On the left-hand side, it doesn't have a mod wheel. It actually has these little pressure button things that are labeled flat and sharp, and it's like a pitch bend thing basically, and you squish them in. and they're actually they're hooked into the LFO, and it's actually a cool thing. Once you actually kind of work out how to sort of play them, that Odyssey's not on. It's a Korg version, by the way. If you're wondering, it's the 80% Odyssey. It's not quite an Odyssey; it's 80% of an Odyssey. But yeah, apparently the Odyssey was, with the, the sort of LFO sort of, that sort of, drifty sort of pitch thing was quite a go-to sound. Obviously, theremin was another one. Theremin was another one that people tend to go to a lot. So let's see what some of the chats are saying. So yeah, we've got theremin. Yes, we've already got theremin. Kent is saying the CS80 ring mod. Yeah, I mean, look, someone needs to do a Eurorack version of that ring mod, I think. I reckon it would be beautiful. Properly, not some, guesstimate, a proper version of it.
Actually, frequency shifter is really good for doing crazy sounds.
Someone mentioned, who was that? Mentioned
cross mod.
the JX3D mentioned the VL1. I haven't heard a VL1 mentioned for a while. Let's see if we can get that comment up.
It's got sine waves, hasn't it? Yeah.
See if we can get that comment up.
With the sine wave.
Just wait for that to refresh. There you go, Casio VL1.
Spooky stuff out of my K5000.
Through a space echo is a nice Halloween sound. There you go. Fantastic. That's one. What else can we bring up? Lots of people mentioned this one. So theremin, of course. Filter of white noise. Hang on, let's get this one up. These will just scroll through now, hopefully. There you go, they should be scrolling through. Eddie's suggestion is quite good. Eddie's coming up, it's coming up probably next. There we go. One scary sounds out of a synth. Me trying to program an FM patch. Yeah, it's probably me trying to program anything to do with FM. Yes.
I think my favorite go-to is a Hartman Neuron. I've made some creepy stuff with that.
Yeah, Hartman, haven't heard that for a while. Apparently Hitchcock, according to QRDNK, Hitchcock used a theremin. There you go. So there's a couple of good suggestions. Any sort of thing basking in tons of reverb would probably be our go-to, wouldn't it?
Being able to sort of get those. Can I just say, does this come through?
It does, but it would blasted areas. But yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
That's like a stinger in the Halloween movies.
I've just adjusted your volume, Andy. Yep. That can be done.
Someone mentioned theremin. I forgot to mention during the SB404 thing that I actually hooked a theremin to it. And if you had it set up for a Halloween setup, you could have the proximity of the kids walking by the theremin triggering the samples. So you don't have to use like an infrared beam if you don't want to. You can actually use the theremin to trigger your sounds because that goes out over MIDI. And that's kind of fun. Or you use these Arduino projects, like this one called Xils-labs or Xils-labs, makes this little kind of drum pre-built thing for multiple triggers that you can also hook sensors to, like piezos, like on a floor mat, or beams you want to break or whatever. So there's all kinds of ways to interact with your 404 or whatever you choose to use to trigger your Halloween sounds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I was thinking, why don't we try, because I was talking to you guys before about how Eventide have updated their new plugins to now run on silicon. So I've actually installed them. So why don't we try Black Hole with Digital Native Dance? That might be interesting. I've never actually done this before. But what we'll do is we'll flick it right over to maximum mix. So it's really just all Black Hole. And And when I'm playing it, I'm going to put the joystick up to the top, and then we're going to do Andy's favourite chord. Here we go. Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, that's working. See the old trusty synths, hey? There you go. The old trusty reverb, like crazy. I mean, I could probably even make that black hole tail for a few hours if I wanted to. But yeah, the old trusty reverb was something. Daren, you've been a little bit on the quiet side about the spooky stuff. What would you, if you were to make a spooky track, what would you sort of go to?
Probably a reversed vocal through loads of reverb and probably delay.
Yeah, it's a good one. Reverse vocal, yeah. Have you ever done that recently?
Yeah, there's lots of, I have. Not as a spooky sound, mind, but yeah, reverse vocals are always good because they just sort of, they just give a different ambience to something, especially when you've got lots of reverb behind it, that you can turn that quite easily into a spooky sound, and that's without a synth. Synth-wise, I think it doesn't really matter. I think it's the effects and everything that you put through more than anything. But if I had a theremin, it'd be one. But any synth, really, I think, if you whack it through enough effects, you can get any sort of spooky sound.
Yeah. Wow. So
the reverse reverb is a famous effect on the Poltergeist movie, where the girls in the TV set.
Yeah.
And that's reverse reverb, really good.
I noticed, Daren, you talk about reverse reverb quite a lot, and obviously the Blue Sky, the Big Sky pedals do the reverse reverb quite well. That's one of the things. But what's your go-to reverse reverb? Is it in Ableton, or is it a pedal that you use, or what's your go-to reverse reverb?
I do use the Big Sky. I'd say it's probably be a plugin in Ableton. Using the reverse reverb. That or the Valhalla. I think the Valhalla Supermassive has a reverse reverb.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. It might not, but that one, definitely. And I think I've got a couple of Macs. I think I've got a Mac. I can't remember what it's called now. I'll have to check it up. But I've got one that's... I forget what it's called. But yeah, that does a great... it's a Max for Live plugin, but I can't remember what it is without looking at it. But that has epic reverbs and reverse reverbs as well, so I use them a lot as well. Just reverb makes anything sound either scary or good. So if you're ever struggling, just put some reverb on something.
Yeah, I mean, Ben mentioned it in chat. I'll just highlight his comment. I agree with him. I also like frozen reverbs. It'll come up in a sec. One of the things that I was doing on the Typhoon or Clouds before, when I was showing you guys the Akai Force going through, was I actually froze the sound, which is something that's really cool. You can do that on the Clouds module. Zoom in a bit. It's got a little freeze button on there. It's actually really cool. It's not really a reverb freeze as such, but you can, put the algorithm in the Clouds. So there's a big reverb freeze thing there, and it's actually got quite a nice reverb algorithm here, which has got its own own mixing control, which I've always liked. So yeah, that's another one that you could probably use. Daren, I don't know. Do you have a Clouds, Daren?
Yeah, I do. I do have the Clouds. I have a black Clouds, yes.
Yeah, so that's got some reversing stuff on it that you can muck around with.
Yeah. Someone just asked a question about... Oh, it's all right. They're just asking a question about me rack fitting here at the back. If you have a look at... I think if a level... This rack fitting here is custom built. It comes from there's a 5 or 6 tier stand, and then I've built out up onto the top and angled it about, I don't know, 45 degrees maybe, with a frame built out of just the tubing. You can buy something like it, but I've just built it, so it was actually cheaper to build it than it was to buy something similar, because it wouldn't fit in the studio. What you can buy would be right out here, and since I've only got a small area, I've had to make it to the right size. So yeah, if you look at one of my videos, I think it's a rebuild, you'll get a sort of empty view of how it looks. I can't remember which video it is now, though. Yeah, sorry, carry on, Rans. I was just asking.
No, it's fine. Let him ask. That's what the show's here for. It's not just about me, it's about you guys. It was nice. I actually thought it was nice to see Andy's Pro 1 going to the dentist. That was good. It was nice to see the other Andy show us some of that gear, especially the A-frame. I really like the A-frame. I think Andy, I might probably get myself one of those. To me, it had a bit of a resonator sort of feel to it, but because it had that tactile sort of the way you touch it and you can manipulate the way it sounds, I really I dig that sort of stuff. It's really cool. I can just see that, being mucked around a little bit through samplers and stuff too. That would actually be a cool thing. Even, getting those sort of sounds and slicing them up would be an interesting thing as well. And hearing about... Oh, here we go. What do we got here?
It's his stomach rumbling.
It's a reverse. It's a reverse effect.
It's called poltergeist.
You're supposed to say, Andy, you're supposed to say, get out.
It's the Voice Live 2 box. It has tons of crazy stuff on it. Yeah, I remember that one. I was going to, before you were doing that, I was going to also say that I thought it was also cool to find out that Rave Dave is going to release an album, and looking forward to the big purple monster rearing its ugly head.
Whoa, be careful what you say. There we go for a sample there, isn't it? I don't know. Just as I sat on the park bench and got revealed.
I didn't quite get it out cleanly. Let me try again.
Well, that's even worse.
Okay, guys, hey, I'm going to mute you all. The big purple monster rearing its ugly head. There you go. Sample that.
It still sounds bad. Don't go to Ann Summers.
What's the guy that does the what's that show where they would I lie to you? That show. What's the guy that does the Welsh guy that hosts it? What's his name again?
Rob Brydon.
Rob Brydon. Yeah. You should do a version of him saying it, I reckon. I reckon that'll be perfect.
Ask him if he'll do it. Yeah.
I was going to say, you sounded like a Harold Robbins novel there for a second.
Oh, heck.
Yeah.
I have a couple Halloween things to, in the spirit of Halloween. I have some creepy stuff to share. The Dawn of the Dead sweater from 1978.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is brilliant.
The helicopters on it and the zombies on it.
Yeah.
And on the back, you have the classic shot of the machete zombie.
Yeah, that is brilliant. Oh, my God.
Is really hard to get now.
Is that a reprint or is that actually a real one from back then?
No, this is recent. There's a really fun website called Middle of Beyond. I'm not sure where they're from, but they make all these crazy like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Dawn of the Dead,
that is
Krampus, cool. Related stuff, Evil Dead, and they only had these for a while. They blew them out and they totally disappeared. You can't find them anymore except on eBay for like twice the price. But that one's really cool. I also have the 50th anniversary Night of the Living Dead sweatshirt that they had at the Pittsburgh Mall for the Dawn of the Dead thing for George Romero. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I actually watched I watched the live stream about that.
The famous shot.
Yeah.
Of it's actually a model prop kit they had. They put like some slaughterhouse eyeballs in it and stuff.
Did you see the live stream that they did for that? That was actually really well done.
The Garf stuff, it's the George Romero Foundation is really cool. They have lots of great streams.
Yeah, like because it was the 50th anniversary, and it was also respecting him as well because he's passed. But like the whole the whole sort of reminiscing down that movie, you know, it was cool. And they actually went into like some of the ways that they did some of the effects, and it was actually really interesting. It was really cool.
Yep. They made a 40th anniversary Dawn of the Dead hoodie, but that sold faster than this one, so I couldn't get it.
You're gonna have to get another cupboard for all this stuff, mate.
I'm a huge fan. That was one of my favorite movies of all time, just because it has bikers in it. It has zombies. He started the whole zombie craze.
Mine too. Yep, absolutely.
Redneck shooting zombies. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really get any better. I think, you know, it's almost like they've done that. Nothing can get better than that.
There's even a pie fight in it. I mean, they're throwing pies at
that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And there was supposed to be a scene where George goes through as Santa Claus, and his wife, who's the producer, is an elf running around. And it was too silly, so they cut it out. But there's a little clip in the background. You see a guy in a red suit run by. That's George Romero in the Santa suit running by.
Oh, right.
Pie fight.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite scenes is Return of the Living Dead, when they had they were in that they were in that cold room, and they had those dogs that were sawn in half. That was brilliant.
Hit it with a crutch and all
that. Yeah. That was so well done. Yeah.
The Tar Man was the best, as the coming out of the drum.
Oh yes, yeah. That was good. I'm gonna have to go watch those again. I'm actually, I don't know about you guys, I'm getting sick of Netflix, and I think some of the stuff that's coming out is starting to get pretty B grade, or C grade even, and even,
you know, this stuff's been done already, you know.
Yeah, it's just almost predictable when you watch this stuff. I mean, obviously there's some good things, like we had the Squid Games was pretty good. I have to admit I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good. That
was kind of refreshing. Gory. I wasn't expecting it to be as gory as what it was. It was pretty gory. Yeah. And I think, I don't know if you guys have watched it. I don't want to actually tell anyone what actually happens in the end, so I don't spoil it for anyone. But I actually thought the end was predictable. Did you guys feel the same? Did you guys kind of work out that the end was going to be like that, sort of early in the piece?
It's kind of a remake of Battle Royale anyway, so that's the famous one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what are we up to? I need to go back to my stream to see 2 hours and 17. I think it's almost time to wrap up the show because people have got lives and families and things like that. And it's just hit 11 p.m. here in my tiny little neck of the world.
Can I show one more thing that's kind of fun for Force users?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to bring this up earlier, but the subject changed. So I came up with a mobile rig that uses one of these batteries from Amazon that has multiple voltages. Force is basically a laptop power supply, so it's like, I think it's 17 volts or 22 volts or something like that. So this is, you know, has multiple USB ports on it and adapters to go to different plugs. And this is like, I don't know, $60 on Amazon, whatever, from China. This awesome little battery to go for hours on your Force. And then if you want to put on a stand, because as Wagyu pointed out on some other stream, they didn't put an angle on the screen. So it's this long thing straight in front of you. The viewing angle sucks. So you have to either stand over it or you have to prop it. So a guy in line had this clever idea. Is this cheap guitar stand that folds up into these little things. You put it on a table, pull out the legs, holds it at a perfect angle, and you can beat on the thing. It doesn't move.
That is good.
And this is like $30 or $20 on Amazon.
Oh, send us the links.
So I use this thing all the time, and I Velcro it. Yeah, well, I Velcro it to the case, and then I bought this case that holds the Force. Here, there's the Force inside. There's some padding, and then underneath, I have the little M Audio keyboard if I need some keys, and some MIDI cables and a power cord and a bunch of other crap. So all in one little case. That's kind of these like semi-hard shell Gator cases. It fits the Force perfectly. So I actually took this when I first bought the Force. I actually took it to SIGGRAPH, and while I was watching graphic videos, I was making some stuff with my Rolly Seaboard Bluetooth to this thing. And,
Nice.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've always wondered if the Force had the Visa mount on the back of it, because that would have been.
It doesn't, because the hard drive plate is there.
Because the hard drive plate, yeah, that would have been genius if they did that though. Or move the
At least
hard
they
drive.
have the hard drives. The MPCs don't have the hard drive, right?
No, the MPCs have a hard drive.
They do? I thought some of them don't.
Oh, the MPC 1 doesn't, but the others do.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't have bought it if it didn't. Okay, so I thank you very much for that. I do need to plug Adamski's website. They've all been shouting at me in chat to plug it. So it's already been linked in the chat, so I don't need to give you the guys the link, but there's his website. If you're wondering who Adamski is, or Adam, he's making this new synth, the triple VCO monster, the Advantage synth, and basically what you need to do if you're actually interested in getting one is actually register your interest. And basically what Adam's doing is he's just trying to gauge a sort of list of, potential of what he is going to be manufacturing for out there in the big wide world. Definitely I'll be putting my name down for one, because it is absolutely cool what he's done with the oscillators and things like that. So definitely check that out. And big shout out to Adam if he's around. I think we should wrap the show up, guys. Big thank you to all my guests who come on the show every week, and they offer their time for free, and they do it out of the goodness of their heart. And a massive, massive, big thank you from me. Obviously, I also do the show for free as well, but you guys who are actually watching the show on the replay are also in the chat. Don't forget to give these guys a thumbs up, a like, because it does go to them. They actually they watch the show on replay sometimes, and they'll see, if it's been liked or not. And don't forget to give you thanks in other ways by visiting their YouTube channels and everything. All of these guys have YouTube channels. They're all going to be linked in the description. I think Brooksy's and Daren's are already in there. I'll put Andy's up once the video stops streaming, and we'll make sure that's all linked. Other than that,
and
hope
if
you
you've
guys
not got it, get it.
Hope you guys have a good week. Get Daren's.
Good plug, Daren.
Yep, get Daren's music from Bandcamp.
Go get a life.
Yep, get a life. And
so don't forget my pumpkin. I have a pumpkin behind me here. So
nice one.
The Waldorf.
Oh, the Waldorf pumpkin. Kent. Yeah. Oh wow, Kent. Big shout out to Kent for the 25. Oh, the super chat worked this time. Yay! So we can show it. If it's gonna refresh. Come on, refresh. Here we go. No, it's being stupid.
But I just want to say one thing about Adamski stuff. Not only does it sound great, but it looks cool with the wood paneling. Reminds me of some of the Bastel stuff with the wood panels.
Yeah,
really
it does. Yeah, big thank you, Kent. Kent's a really, really good supporter of me, and I do appreciate his support as well. One of my Patreons as well. So you don't have to do that, Kent. We love you as you are. Anyway, many, many thanks to everyone. We're going to end the stream now. See you all next week. Don't know what we're going to be doing next week, but who knows what it will be.
Happy Halloween.
Bye-bye. Happy Halloween. Good point.
Bye, everyone.